The man who answered my home phone had never set foot in my house. "Who is this?" he asked, voice low, nervous, confused. I froze. "This is my house," I said. But he hung up before I could finish. I stared at my office phone like it had just punched me. "Hi, Jackson Reed, 38, logistics manager, married 6 years." And at 3 p.m. on a normal Tuesday, I heard a stranger's voice pick up my landline. Not my wife. Not my kid. A man. I called back 8 times. No answer. No voicemail. Nothing. I grabbed my keys without thinking. Didn't tell my team. Didn't clock out. I just walked out of the building and drove like I was chasing a ghost. 15 minutes later, I pulled into my driveway. Sun still high. Trash can still out. Nothing looked wrong, but I knew something was. Our front door was locked. Alarm armed. Normal. Too normal. I stepped inside. And that's when I heard it, footsteps upstairs. Heavy. Not hers. I crept up the stairs, heart hammering like a war drum. Bedroom door, half open. Inside. A window was propped open. Curtains fluttering. And the closet, her side, stood wide open. But the house? Empty. I called her cell. Straight to voicemail. I whispered her name. No answer. Then I looked down and saw something on the floor. A single sock. A man's sock. Gray. One. Not mine. That's when I knew this wasn't just a phone call. It was the start of something that had been happening for a long time. The sock was balled up near the dresser. Gray. Faded. Size too large to be mine. I stood completely still, listening. No voices. No movement. Just the sound of my own pulse in my ears. Hi again, Jackson Reed. And in that moment, I wasn't angry. I wasn't panicking. I was watching. The house was spotless like always. But suddenly, I noticed everything she didn't clean. One extra toothbrush in the bathroom. 2 coffee mugs in the sink. A charger I didn't recognize plugged in beside the bed. iPhone, but she used Android. I opened the closet. Her side was organized, color-coded, except one shelf was empty. Top right. I hadn't noticed it missing before. Now I couldn't unsee it. I walked back downstairs, phone still in my hand, and checked the caller ID history. 3:02 p.m. call answered. 3:03 p.m. disconnected. I knew the alarm code. I knew the door hadn't been forced. Whoever that man was, she let him in. But the way he answered, nervous, caught off guard, told me one thing. He wasn't supposed to be there when I called. I opened the guest room closet. Inside, a folded blanket, 2 pillows, a duffel bag. And under the bed? A second pair of men's shoes. Worn down. Familiar. My heart dropped. Because I recognized the brand. Not from her. From someone I knew. Someone who had never been to my house. But had apparently been here, more than once. The shoes were size 12. Brown leather, scuffed at the toe. I'd seen them before, at my brother's apartment. He always joked about how comfortable they were. Better than slippers, he once said. Now they were under my guest bed. Hi, Jackson Reed again. And I stood there, staring at proof I hadn't even been looking for. Not in my wife's phone. Not in our bedroom. But here, hidden in plain sight. I pulled the duffel bag out next. Inside. 2 shirts, a toothbrush, deodorant, and a pack of gum. Winter mint. Same kind he kept in his car. I didn't explode. I didn't cry. I zipped it shut and walked it out to the driveway like I was taking out the trash. I tossed it in the trunk of my car. Then I drove. Not to her office. Not to his apartment. To our parents' house, where we'd all grown up. Where he and I used to race to the front porch for Sunday pancakes. He wasn't there. But Dad was. Hey son, he smiled. You're early. I cut him off. Has Mason been here today? He hesitated. A little too long. Why? Because I think he's been at my house. With my wife. His face fell. Jackson, don't jump to conclusions. I'm not jumping, I said. I found his shoes under the guest bed. His charger next to our nightstand. His sock by her dresser. Silence. Then, you should talk to your wife before. No, I said. I want to talk to him. Before I involve anyone else. Because I already knew where Mason would be that night. And I planned to show up early. With a key my wife didn't know I'd kept. He still used the same place downtown. A loft above a wine bar where he told everyone he lived part-time for work. That night his car was out front. Lights on. Curtains drawn. I didn't knock. I used the key he gave me 2 years ago when he got locked out during a snowstorm. The same key he probably assumed I'd forgotten. I stepped inside quietly. The air smelled like her perfume. And the first thing I saw? Her scarf on the back of his kitchen chair. Hi again, Jackson Reed. And in that moment I didn't feel rage. I felt clarity. That sharp edge between pain and decision, when you realize you're not losing someone, you've already lost them. I heard them before I saw them. Laughter. Two voices. One deep. One I used to wake up to. I moved down the hallway like a soldier, calm, tactical. The bedroom door was open a crack. I didn't step inside. I didn't need to. She was sitting on his bed, her legs curled under her, laughing at something he'd just said. He was shirtless, standing near the window. Like it was routine. Like it was theirs. And I saw it, the look on her face. Not fear. Not guilt. Comfort. She belonged here. Not with me. I stepped back without making a sound. Walked out the door. Locked it behind me. In the car, I texted one word to my lawyer. Proceed. The plan had already been set in motion. What they didn't know. I'd been documenting everything. And the next morning, they'd both receive copies. Signed. Dated. With a photo on top. The envelope hit her desk at 8:02 a.m. Inside, a stack of neatly printed photos, timestamps, angles, proof. Him at our door. Her in his apartment. A picture of her hand on his chest, wearing the ring I gave her. On top, a letter. This is not a confrontation. This is closure. Divorce proceedings begin today. I've already moved out. You do not need to explain. I already understand. Hi again, Jackson Reed. A man who built a life on order, structure, and quiet loyalty. And in return got secrets, gaslighting, and betrayal hiding in soft tones. Mason got his copy too. Delivered to his office, in front of his team. Inside his envelope? The same letter with one extra line. Tell our parents whatever version helps you sleep. But the truth has already spoken. He called 12 times. She called 23. I answered none of them. I didn't want apologies. I wanted silence. Space. Distance from the version of me who tolerated half-truths. By noon, I had moved into a temporary apartment across town. Everything I needed fit into 2 duffels. She tried showing up once. I buzzed her out without a word. Mason sent a voicemail. Bro, I didn't plan for this to happen. It just happened. I deleted it without listening to the end. Because betrayal doesn't just happen. It's chosen one lie at a time. That night, I opened a new bank account, finalized the asset freeze, and slept in a bed that didn't carry the scent of dishonesty. And the next day, I met with someone who knew exactly what to do with the evidence. Because Mason's company had a morals clause in their contract. Mason's company prided itself on being family first. It was part of their brand, their selling point, their investors. But their code of conduct? Unforgiving. Hi again, Jackson Reed. And when I walked into their corporate office that morning with a sealed folder and a quiet voice, I wasn't seeking revenge. I was submitting evidence as a concerned citizen and as a betrayed brother. The receptionist hesitated. Do you have an appointment? No, I said. But after today, you'll want to review what's in this file before you publish your next marketing campaign. I left it on the counter. Inside, timeline of infidelity. Proof of workplace disruptions. Misuse of shared funds. And one recorded voicemail, his sent the night he tried to calm it down. I didn't plan for this to happen. Their HR department called me the next day. Mr. Reed, we appreciate your discretion. This is serious. I know, I said. So did he. By the end of the week, Mason was placed on unpaid leave pending review. His face was removed from the company's PR pages. His contract, frozen. Stock options withheld. He didn't call again. But she did. This time she left a voicemail I actually listened to. You destroyed him. I sat alone in my apartment, lights off, phone glowing in my hand. No, they destroyed themselves. I just stopped covering for it. But I wasn't finished. There was still one place I had to go. One person who still thought none of this was their problem. Our mother. Because she had defended them both for weeks, insisting I was overreacting. Tomorrow, I'd show her exactly what overreacting doesn't look like. She opened the door with that same half-smile she always used when trying to defuse tension. Jackson, she said softly. You look tired. I am, I replied. Just not for the reasons you think. She stepped aside. Same house I grew up in. Same hallway where Mason and I used to race for the bigger slice of cake. Same kitchen where she hugged us both like we were equal. We weren't. She made tea. I didn't touch mine. I spoke to your brother, she said. He's devastated. I nodded. He will be. Sweetheart, people make mistakes. You can't blow up the whole family over one. I pulled out a printed photo. her on his bed. Then another. Him at our front door, using a key she claimed she never gave anyone. Then one last, a still frame from the voicemail with the timestamp burned into the corner. I placed them on the table like playing cards. Face up. Unflinching. She didn't move. "Mom," I said quietly, "I didn't blow anything up. I just stopped pretending everything wasn't already broken." She opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked down, finally seeing it, not just the evidence but the quiet grief behind my eyes. "I didn't know," she whispered. "No," I said. "You didn't want to." I stood, left the photos on the table. At the door I paused. "I don't hate them," I said. "I'm just done bleeding for people who call it love." That night I slept better than I had in years. Because the final chapter wasn't about them anymore. It was about me. And tomorrow I'd write the last page with no one else in the room. I woke up to sunlight. No voicemail. No apologies. No noise. Just peace. The kind that doesn't come from forgiveness, but from release. I, Jackson Reed. The man they used lied to stepped over. And the man who didn't scream, didn't chase, didn't crumble. I rebuilt quietly. Closed the joint accounts. Sold the house. Cut off the shared insurance. Canceled the honeymoon I never wanted. And left the memories in the ashes where they belonged. Mason's career never recovered. He tried to pivot. Claimed mental stress. Spun a story, but no one bought it. The truth had receipts. His reputation wasn't wounded. It was documented. As for her, she moved in with a cousin out of state. Sent one final message. "You were the best man I ever had. I just didn't know how to be honest with you." I didn't reply. Some truths are best met with silence. Months passed. I started hiking again. Picked up my guitar. Ate dinner alone and liked it. My laugh came back in pieces. Then all at once one night while watching a dumb movie I'd never have admitted I liked before. And then one afternoon I passed by my old house on a walk. Different curtains now. Different couple. I felt nothing. Because the past doesn't belong to me anymore. Only the lesson does. Never confuse comfort with connection. They loved the version of me who didn't look too closely. But the man I became? He sees everything. And he doesn't wait to be respected. He requires it. So if you ever wonder what happened to the man who got betrayed by his wife and his own brother in his own home, he left. He healed. He restarted.